Okay, today we're going to look at taking a decimal and turning it into a percent, and then take the percent and turn it into a decimal. So first, let's go ahead, and we've done this before. We're going to look at a percent to a decimal. And so we're going to take 135%. And what would we do to convert 135% to a decimal? Well, the first thing that you'd need to do is you're going to take a look, and we're going to take 135% and turn it into a ratio. Percent always means per 100, so we would say 135 out of 100. Now, the next thing that we can take a look at is 135 can also be shown as 135 divided by 10 to the second power, because when we look at the number 100, 100 base 10 to the second power, 10 times 10 is your 100. So if we have 135 and I'm dividing it by 10 to the second power, I would have to take a look at my number, 135, and if I'm dividing it by 100, is it getting bigger or smaller? Well, the answer is it's going to be getting smaller. And so if I have my number 135, the decimal would be after the 5. But if it's going to be getting smaller by 2 place values, we would be moving our decimal 2 places to the left. So 135% would be equal to 1.35. Now, if we're going to take the decimal to a percent, we would end up working backwards. So our decimal would be 1.35, and we would like to convert that to a percent. We would work backwards. So instead of taking our number and dividing it by 100, we would take our number, 1.35, and multiply it by 100. And right now I'm using a parenthesis because we are using variables such as x, and we know that when there is no sign of operation, it would imply multiplication if we have it in a parenthesis. So we have 1.35 times 100. And if I take my 1.35 times 100, I could also say 1.35 times 10 to the second power. So if I look at my number, which happens to be 1.35, and I'm multiplying it by 10 to the second power, it is going to be getting bigger by 2 place values. And I know if my decimal is between the 1 and the 3, for me to get the 1.35 larger, I would be moving it 2 decimal places to the right, and I would end up with 135%, which is what we started with. And so just taking a look, percent to a decimal, we can say that we need to divide by 10 to the second power, making it smaller by 2 place values. Decimal to a percent, you take your number and you would multiply by a power of 10, 10 to the second power. It would become 2 decimal places greater, and it would be 135%. That's it.